Hello and thank you for watching my video. Welcome to Lion's Arch. Now this is the newly redesigned, rebuilt Lion's Arch that has been brought into the game. This is coming out with the patch on the 23rd of June 2015, and so this is what LA now looks like. It's been really redesigned, a lot less waypoints I think around. They've really simplified it out everywhere. It's very elegant, and the whole point of this video is going to go around taking you, looking at all these places, looking at all the new things that you need to know where everything is. And we're going to go on a complete tour. At the end of this video, you're going to hear me talk about the new specializations, the way the trait system is going to be working now, and a few other little tidbits that's with the updates that have come in. So if you don't really want to, if you've already explored Lion's Arch, you don't want to see anything, by all means feel free to fast forward this, but the rest of this will be a nice little tour around LA. So what I've done, I've actually sped this up so you don't have to worry, it's not going to take me too long. You'll notice we've got all these boats that were originally in Guild Wars 2, originally in Lion's Arch. They've actually been reincorporated into some of the different areas. You can see like they've got the hulls of the ships cut out into the walls. Continuing its naval theme, but a lot of the architecture has now got these white stone walls, which is kind of very similar to a lot of naval towns in real life. You can see actually the sort of the smugglers that were in the smugglers' cave. They've actually been forced out by the Skrit. And there is conflict between the Skrit and these sort of bandit type people, and so whether or not that will be shown in game a lot more than we'll see. So we're going to have a look at the Skrit. Something to note that the Triforge chest has reappeared, and this is where you can actually access and gain loot. The Triforge chest is a result, it actually introduced with the Tower of Nightmares and to do with the Toxic Alliance. And it was actually taken out of the game after that, this story mode was came in, after that part of the living world. And so people really, some of them people had Triforge keys but never able to get access to the chest. So it gives you that access. I'm sure there's still access, still ways you can actually gain access to the Triforge key. So here we have Kabaya Mariner. He was actually the founder. The big story took place in Sea of Sorrows, the novel, which is actually all about Kabaya Mariner. He was a very, very interesting character, and I do recommend you actually reading that book. But we've got the memorial here. We actually got to name the memorial, which is pretty cool. This little ectoplasm merchant, you won't actually see me get to him in this video. There is a way to get to him. I stupidly forgot how to do it. But you actually need to go underwater and look for some sort of reeds. So we still actually have the Tengu there, still by the wall. The Ecto Merchant is all about gambling ectos and gold, and there are big rewards for it, but there's also big losses as well. I spent 250 ectos and 20 gold, and got back 150 ectos and 10 gold. So it was a loss for me. So I'll point out here actually there are some reeds that are just to the right here. That's where you actually go through to get to the Ectoplasm Merchant. It's actually a script that really likes messing with you. So you can see here, this is where the Breachmaker used to be. We've got these new dockyards here, which all look really fantastic. Beautiful design. You've got the monuments. You've got a lot of actually historical little if we come up here, we've got these plaques. Or the historical marker, and you actually get a little bit of history. So this was obviously about Lion's Arch initially, to do with the White Mantle and Sol D'Alessio. So it gives everyone a little bit more information about the Lion's Arch history, which I find fascinating. We actually get a lot more dialogue between NPCs around the city, so it's quite fun just to listen and see what some of them are actually talking about. And obviously I've nowhere near gone around and listened to everybody, because if you watch my other video looking at Lion's Arch, how it was in Guild Wars 1, it is tiny, and the amount of detail that's gone into Lion's Arch is immense. I mean, it really is a beautiful city, really much more ready for Heart of Thorns. It's back to its best, in my opinion. We had that destroyed Lion's Arch for a long, long time, and now we would like back to Lion's Arch as it should be. So we're proceeding on. We're going to go north. We're going to try and go round in a clockwise fashion. So as we're coming up here, we come up to the trading post. This is where the Black Lion trading company sort of are based now. They were based in the boat. You've got the paintings and all this sort of, nice goods being sold. They've still got the maritime theme. You've got like octopus over there, and you've got like sort of all naval type, ideas. We've got Captain Nashblade. I thought you could boost him around. He actually wanders around Lion's Arch. He's a captain of Lion's Arch now. And he's a very interesting character, considering obviously we had to vote for him or Ellen Keel, and now both of them are on the council apparently because they're both captains. We've got all these like cool little fountains, but then we got the Mystic Forge, and this is really interesting how they've redesigned it. Look, you go in there, you get punted back out again. Really, really fun. Let's go back in again, and we'll get punted back out. Really funny. Nice little touch that they've done there for the Mystic Forge. So we've got the bank. The bank is still in its sort of, locked format. And we go in here. This is the Black Lion key. I mean, look at it. You've got the key there. That's pretty cool. This is the Black Lion trading company. So all of their weapons. So here we've got all the new weapons. So this is all the Gallant weapons that have come in. And you can preview them. So they're right out. They're right at the front door. I actually got the greatsword. I really enjoyed the greatsword. And if we come through here, we actually get all of the individual different weapons. So you've got all the different other Black Lion weapons. So rather than be under one vendor, they're all under different vendors now, meaning they can keep bringing more into the game and they're not limited by how much they can actually show. So here you go, you've actually got weapons on display, which is pretty cool. And you've got so you can actually see some of the weapons actually there. You got a really clear idea of what they are. And you notice there's a few missing. Well, there you can see through the gap. That's where they are. You've got the Phoenix Longbow, you've got the Chaos Weapon, and you've got the Ley Line Weapon. So they are actually probably going to come back maybe sometime in the future when they want to interchange some of these. But a really nice touch by ArenaNet. And I really do like this new design of Lion's Arch. And you've got the Black Lion symbols there. And yeah, generally that section looks really, really nice. You've got the new Azura gates to all the different cities around the world. So you can go to Holbreak, you can go to Black Citadel, the Grove, etc. You can even go to Southson Cove from here. So it's a nice little the eastern ward is all very nicely laid out. You've got, instead of a rope bridge, you've got a proper bridge now. Also to the left, where there's some sort of huts that have been there since launch, they haven't really changed much. At night time, you can actually go into this sort of underground area where you actually go in the Order of Whispers personal story. We do have the Guild initiative. That's actually still being built. Obviously, that's going to come in with Heart of Thorns. So you can see here, we can try and get a peek through the window, but that is probably going to open up when Heart of Thorns comes out. So they're readying that in progress. Good sign for Heart of Thorns, really. That they've got these buildings set up ready to come out as soon as Heart of Thorns launches. But I've noticed as well that the Azura Gate that transferred you to Lorna's Pass from Lion's Arch is gone. So I was like, well, how do I get there? But luckily there is now a portal. You can take the portal straight through to Lorna's Pass, which is a nice little thing that they've decided to keep in game. But this was obviously another area where they had the dungeon tokens vendor as well as a lot of crafting stations. They're all gone now. I do think it's a little bit of a mistake, the fact that they've centralised, they've only got one set of crafting stations rather than have multiple. They had 3 last time. You got this cool little area. This is a nice touch. You can actually decorate, you can get some flowers. Actually, a fun little thing, this merchant, he offers you for 1 gold, and you could actually say no, and he'll lower his price. So I actually ended up, instead of a gold, I spent half a gold on these flowers. You can actually have like a little ceremony here. It's pretty nice. This whole garden area, so it's pretty cool that you can obviously have, like, a lot of people have been having like wedding ceremonies, like, with guests flying bouquet of flowers, and that's pretty cool that ArenaNet have introduced this. So as we proceed on, this is all pretty empty, pretty barren, pretty set standard really. This is like the farm area, but obviously these bridges have all been redesigned. You've got a Skritten and a Azura wandering around. A lot of these, there's a lot of like arches and bridge and sort of things like under the bridges. But here we come up. This is obviously, we've got the ArenaNet logo that is still here, and this is the defensible fortifications. I mean, look at all of these cannons. LA is now a phenomenally stable structure. You've actually got like a murder that's gone on with some Sylvari that's been murdered. So there's a little investigation going on there. Is that the sort of hint between conflict between Silvari and the other races? But here we go. This is the Borderland mist. So you've got Fractal of the Mists in the centre there. This sort of red glowing, not the crackly different Azura Gate sort of mechanic that you had before. So you've got actually as well to the Edge of the Mists, as well as the Eternal Battlegrounds, Obsidian Sanctum, and the 3 Borderlands. So that's what the gates are over here. We've got the aerodrome above us. You've still got the Vigil over to, well, I've gone the wrong way, over here. So this is where the Vigil is still based. Obviously they're all sleeping, getting some rest. But yeah, this is a properly fortified area now in Fort Mariner. And we've got the Grand Piazza to go back to. There's still no big lion statue, which I couldn't find anyway. So that's a bit disappointing. But again, this area here is completely fortified. I mean, there's cannons galore. I mean, look at all of these. LA is one defensible city. Even if Mordremoth tries to attack this, I don't think he'll be able to actually make much of a dent. Because look at all these fortifications. Again, the sort of towers and the white sort of cement that they use, obviously, for the buildings and the bridges. It looks very, very modern, very similar to Divinity's Reach, the newer parts of Divinity's Reach. We've got the lighthouse. This is so cool. This is a rebuilt lighthouse. And it just really screams like modern, with like Pact and Azura tech, and obviously it goes around. It's got a long way up, and we run around, and eventually we'll get to the top, and we get a nice little vista that we'll have a watch of. But generally, I'm impressed with the Lion's Arch. There are a few things that I've been a bit disappointed that they haven't been. They've been taken out that were in the destroyed Lion's Arch, such as the multiple different crafting stations. I mean, the crafting stations are a little bit further away from, for example, the trading post that they used to. That's slightly a little bit irritating. So we get a cool little jump off again. So there we go. And we're going to go and have a look at the piazza, or the plaza, sorry. Not the piazza, the plaza. So here we go. This used to be the bridge. It was a really rickety bridge. I mean, this is completely fortified with cannons either side. I mean, this is really, really defensible. You feel safe here. So here we go. You can actually step through and have a nice wander. Whether or not they're going to incorporate this into Heart of Thorns, are they going to bring in some sort of story to do with Lion's Arch being attacked? That would be pretty cool. And you see Lion's Arch with its all new fortifications defending itself. Because you'd think if Lion's Arch is going to play a part in the Heart of Thorns story, then they will be ready to actually do any modifications to do with that. I mean, Lion's Arch played a big part in the personal story, when you first sort of joined the Pact and the creation of the Pact. Will Lion's Arch play that pivotal role in Heart of Thorns story? Who knows? So again, we get a historical marker, and this is the Grand Plaza, or the Lion's Court. This is where we used to have a nice, lovely lion that would, that was the symbol of Lion's Arch. You do have these kind of Silvari-esque sort of lanterns, or even Quaggan-esque lanterns, but it does have that multi-race feel of the city. It's got like the sort of concrete structure of the Divinity's Reach. It's got these lighting and the flowing nature of the Silvari. It's got a few bits of Azura tech as well, particularly to do with the Lions, sort of the lighthouse, and obviously to do with the Azura gates. Not so much, too much char mechanical items in Lion's Arch currently that I've been able to find, but I thought that'd be interesting to, it's become a lot greater, much more flat. Remember all those all those big buildings that got toppled, they've obviously all been cleared away, and now we've got this much more flat structure, which obviously you've got the Grand Piazza, it is the Grand Piazza, not Grand Plaza. So it is the Grand Piazza, and the Traders Forum, Western Ward, Commodore's Quarter. That is the heart of Lion's Arch now. So you can see here, that's where obviously Traders Forum, right next to the Mystic Forge, which is really, really helpful. Thank God ArenaNet decided to put your waypoint right next to the Mystic Forge. So yeah, this is Lion's Arch as it is now, and I think it's been a long time coming. It's been worth the wait. It's much improved compared to what the previous versions of Lion's Arch has been, and we'll have to see whether or not it generally stays like that, because I'm sure there's a few other things that they need to change. A couple of areas I missed out. This is the new Crow's Nest. This is where the Captain's Council obviously sits. So we do have all the captains around here. We have Ellen Keel actually talking about, becoming a captain had been a double-edged sword. There's been a lot of other things been going on. So generally, obviously, you've got Magnus. He doesn't have his eye patch anymore. You know, it's been an improvement. I think the Captain's Council, the way they are, and obviously there's a lot more consortium stuff going on as well, and there's a lot more consortium around. So we are starting to see some more information about the consortium. Are we going to see them in Heart of Thorns? I don't know. I don't think they will be in Heart of Thorns. I think the consortium are likely to play a bigger role in Season 3 of The Living World, sorry. Particularly, obviously, you've got Kanak. If he becomes a member of like Destiny's Edge 2.0, he's got obviously relations. He's had past relationship with the consortium, so it'd be interesting to see his dynamic with the consortium. And obviously, he's not going to be very trustworthy of them. So again, it got a nice view. This is like the new crow's nest. Remember where they were back in over previously. So yes, this is Lion's Arch as it is now, and it looks really, really much better designed. It's about time they decided to update the design, and this is I'd assume this is the quality of design that we're actually likely to get in certain locations in Heart of Thorns, which is really nice to see. As you can see, we've got like shells and other sort of naval ideas. We've got like a starfish, so it's pretty cool. Other things, dungeon vendors. So if you look here in the new wallet, we actually have these dungeon tokens. There used to be a dungeon merchant for every single one. There's just one merchant. If you look on the minimap where I actually am, that is the only location for the dungeons. Dungeon tokens you can see here. These are all of the dungeon tokens that you can go in and buy. So you've got all of these different items that you can buy from this one vendor, which is pretty cool because you don't have to wander around all these different vendors. They are all in the one place. So that has been my little tour around of Lion's Arch so far. I hope that you've enjoyed it. If there will be things that I'm going to have missed out on. So feel free to leave any comments, anything you found any interesting. Indeed, if you thought something was pretty cool, any dialogue like you got Herotron wandering around, please let me know in the comment section below. Okay, so now we get on to the changes that have come in. So first off, we have got a change to the wallet. The wallet system's being completely redesigned. Obviously, before you used to have karma, gold, and gems at the bottom here. Now we only have gems and gold. You've got the coins, which is actually the wallet to the left-hand side. And what you actually have to do is simply click on that, and this is what happens. It will bring up a list of all of your different currencies that you have in-game. So you've got here, you can see Karma, Spirit Shards, Laurels, Transmutation Charges, Badges of Honor, Fractal Relics, and plenty of other different currencies. You can sort them out as well by particular item or particular dungeon tokens, for example. Also, a little fun fact as well: if you do go into some of the zones like Dry Top, it will suddenly also give you how many geodes you actually have. If you go into World versus World, it will give you how many Badges of Honor you actually have. So that updates dependent upon what map you're actually in as well. So Fractal Pristine Relics, they're now under the bank as well. Geodes, Bandit Crests, and World Tournament claim tickets. So that is changed to the wallet, much more efficient. It's doesn't look as nice, I have to say, as the old system, but once you get used to it, it's really easy to use. You'll notice as well some changes have happened to the skills. Now we've got this. You can see they've got build and training. This is training. So you'll notice that there's several things that have happened. Obviously, as well, we're going to come back to that in a sec. There are a couple of new Explorer titles. So you've got Glutton for Guidance. You just go and speak to Herotron. He'll give you some karma. Lion's Arch Exterminator. That is your Dragonite Eater. So I would advise on using Dolphy's website to actually use the guide, because these 50 Karka are very, very difficult to find. But when you do that, it is much worth it, very much worth it, because you actually get things like Mordry and the Star of Gratitude. This is the new sort of one for Dragonite to get rid of all your Dragonite. So let's go back. This is the new build section. So as you can see here, it's much different to how it was before. We have obviously dagger, main hand, and offhand. You can see the actual skills are lined up for where they are on your skill bar, which is pretty nice to see. So you can see there you've got focus. You've even got like down skills, so you can see down skills both on land and underwater, which hopefully will mean they're going to redo their underwater weapons and stuff and skills. So we've got obviously the skill bar. You can actually change it on on the skill bar as well. And this is the traits. So now you now have 3 core specializations. So I've got fire, lightning, and water, and you can actually select. And when you reselect, so for example, water to earth, then you would get a whole new list of traits. So the traits also have changed. You've got the way it's all very nicely sort of. You can see how it goes and flows around. You notice as well, I've got 354 unspent hero points because I've got 100% map completion. So I need to spend some of these because obviously when they introduced this, not everybody had everything allocated, so we just need to train these up. So we click on Conjure Fiery Greatsword, which obviously you can see there it's blacked out, and I just need to train that skill. So there we go, we'll train that using the 9 heroes points. So there we go. You notice as well in the top right it went from 59% to 100%, so that, and you can see there 15.4% goes to 100%, so that I've unlocked it completely. If you're level 80, you'll get access to all of these. So all you need to do is click on the far one, press train, and boom, you're done. Don't have to worry about anything else. If you do it bit by bit, obviously you can see there it's costing you less points. This gets you access to both traits and some skills. So there we go, you unlocked a trait. I've unlocked all the traits. And we've just got the arcane one to do now. But yes, this is the new way of leveling up, of getting skills and traits. So you can see we've actually unlocked all the skills now. So what we're going to do, we're going to click on the far one, another 60 points, and that is everything. So you can see here, I've still got plenty of hero points that will probably be spent on other things, maybe new elite specializations when it comes out. But that is it. I have now unlocked everything. I've unlocked all the traits. So if we have a look at the traits tab, this is obviously all the skills. Obviously Misfire Wolf we don't have because that's a special deluxe edition that I didn't get. So these are all the traits. You can see it actually flows across. So it's in different levels of 1, 2, and 3. So if you actually look, you can see this as I go back onto that. But I wanted to show you the traits, how they actually looks. Let me just bring that back up. Hang on a sec. Well, you can see there that this is obviously the hero challenges. So there's no longer skill points. The hero challenges, the actual symbols changed. So it's not as clear cut as what I think it used to be, and it's a little bit disappointing. I actually thought the skill point symbol was really stood out quite a lot. So that's a little bit disappointing as well, but just a little look on the left hand side. If you look at air, you've got like the boot, and then that is like the minor trait, and then you get to pick sort of what trait you want out of the next 3, and then you go down. So you can see here we actually what I'm doing now, I'm changing over. We've got different, this is arcane, and so you can see that we're actually moving things around. You have to pick one of the 3 lines. You can't mix and match as we could do before, but the benefit is we get 3 lines of 6 maximum maxed out traits, which is what we only got 2 and a third before this patch. So you can see here that unfortunately they do reset every time you change them, so it's a little bit frustrating, especially if you move traits around, move trait lines around, but it's not too much of a big deal really. You've only got 3 things to pick, so there. Again, I actually, I wanted to I didn't bother print screening or actually checking out my old builds. I wanted to see what the builds are going to be like coming back into, the new game, because some of the traits have actually changed around. So I'm going to be doing some new PvP builds and some new PvE builds soon. I hope you stay tuned for that. If there is any guidance you want on some of these specializations, please let me know in the comment section. Feel free to comment, please subscribe, and as always, thank you very much for watching my video, and I will see you on the next one.